Recording. Yes, I do hear you, and good evening, everybody. This is Greg Liotta. I am from New York City, but right now I'm in Austin, Texas. I left New York about 12 years ago. Been making my way around the world, meeting all kinds of amazing people and healers. Barbara Gomez just joined. Hey, Barbara, good to see you again. We have Teresa Bruni, who is the first person in this series of interviews with healers and master coaches to be invited back for a, what's it called, an encore. So we've invited her back for an encore to talk about the PSYCH-K process, to talk about belief systems, sabotaging belief systems, how they get stuck in the subconscious, what the difference is between subconscious mind and conscious mind, and really to look at cutting edge, but yet ancient. So let's call it cutting ancient technology for understanding how to move through undermining belief systems and manifest whatever it is that you put your mind to and your heart to manifesting. I wanted her to come back because she really has, Teresa has really fascinating material. And I want to say that for me, I'm up trying to get this book open while I'm talking to you. I have been working as a therapist and a coach for about 25 years now. I got my master's degree from Fordham University in 1987.
Wow.
Sorry. So I've been a practicing clinician now for that long. I moved into other fields. I did a lot of diving into the integration between psychotherapy and spirituality. You might want to call that transpersonal. I started doing transpersonal work, transformational healing, focusing on men. I became an addictions counselor at a certain point, blah, 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 a whole bunch of credentials. And the reason why I'm mentioning that is because when Teresa Bruni said to me, I want you to read this book, it's going to blow your mind. I said to myself, you know, I've read a bunch of books and they have blown my mind, but I'm starting to get tired of looking for mind-blowing experiences in books. I'm starting to even lose a little bit of confidence in that, in the realization that my breakthroughs tend to be experiential and beyond whatever it is that I'm reading. And, you know, here's Teresa telling me, read this book. It's called PSYCH-K, PSYCH-K, The Missing Piece. And the piece is P-I-E-C-E crossed out and replaced with peace, like peace, y'all. Okay. By Robert Williams. So I said, oh, okay, I respect Teresa. I like Teresa. You're going to like her too. She's very likable, very intelligent, very well. Yeah, please smile, will you?
Okay.
I know I'm boring over here, but, you know, come on.
Nobody's
looking at me. No, nobody's looking at me. Okay, they want to see you. You got to be over there. Smile. All right. Move your camera a little bit closer. Let everybody see your pearly white teeth. All right. Isn't she pretty? She's pretty, right? Come on. Who wants to look at an old, you know, Italian guy over here with glasses? So, sorry, I cracked myself up. I started reading this book, and about maybe 25% of the way through, somebody asked me, "So how do you like the book?" And I was like, you know what? I really like the book. The book is fine. I was scratching. Okay.
I didn't say anything.
I know how you people are. I know how you people are. I'm just letting you know. You're sitting over there, you're judging me right now. So take a look at your judgments. What does it tell you about yourself? Okay, come on. This is an educational process. All right, so I'm reading the book, and about a quarter of the way through, somebody asked me, "How do you like it?" I said, "You know what? I like the book. Everything he says is sound. There's a lot of science in it. He's got great references. There's not one thing that he is saying that I'm wondering about. He's right on point, but there's nothing mind blowing. There's nothing in here that I haven't seen or heard before." And then I got about maybe halfway through the book, and the book started to blow my mind. And I started getting awarenesses. I started seeing things. I started having some understandings. And I'm telling you, it's very exciting. I've been doing this work for 25 or more years, and I feel as though my world is opening up as a result of the material that Teresa Bruni is bringing forward. And so I called her up and I asked her if she would come back on the show and do an encore. And so here she is. Okay. So there we go. That's my intro. Did you want to say something?
Yeah. Can I show them the cover of the book?
Yeah, but before you do, I just want to say, I mean, come on, the whole big opening with all the jokes, and I don't have any high fives over here.
Oh, you want?
What kind of people are you? Huh? What is it? Who's this new person over here?
So,
Robin, a really cool baby boomer chick, mobile photographer, lover of cinema, great. Social media, yoga, yes, meditation, conscious living, New York City.
nice.
Robin, where do you practice yoga in New York City? I wonder if Robin is still with us.
I don't know
like
that she knows that maybe we have to tell her she needs to type her answer in the message box. There she goes. Right now at home.
You're practicing at home. Are you living in Manhattan? You can type that in. Yes. What street are you living on? You don't have to say the address or the apartment, just the street.
He's asking because he's from New York, Robin.
Yes, I know New York. I know New York well. Cathedral Parkway.
Ah, I think you've stumped him.
I can't remember where Cathedral Parkway is. Is that 110th Street? Yes. Hey. All right. I got it. Cathedral. So you're living like right on the edge of Central Park.
Awesome.
Okay. I used to live in the Schomburg Towers, right down the block. Yeah. All right. All right. Good. We made a good connection. Good. I love these New Yorkers that are some of these people in New York, very, very progressive. If you can find a spiritual life in New York City, you can find it anywhere. Good for you, girl. Good for you. All right. Now, Teresa, why don't you go ahead and take the floor, because I think I have rambled enough.
Okay. Before we get started, I'd like to give a shout out to Coach Jenny from Los Angeles for helping us with our technical issues, because we might not be here if it wasn't for her. So thank you very much.
Actually, yeah, Jenny, are you still in the room? I
can see her on the map. I think that's her, but I can't see.
In California? Is she in California?
Yeah, she's in Los Angeles. We had a nice chat while you were rebooting.
She's in Los Angeles?
Oh, and see, Robin says she found her spiritual life in Los Angeles and then put it in a suitcase and took it to New York with you, huh?
Yeah, she put it in the suitcase of her heart, I'll bet you. Mm-hmm. Good for you. Good for you.
Awesome.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
So PSYCH-K was developed, or I should really say discovered, 25 years ago by Rob Williams. So it's not a new process. But the interesting thing is, I just discovered it over the summer, and it truly has become the missing piece in my life. You know, the saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And I guess that's what happened. And I actually discovered it by accident. And so it's all unfolding perfectly, just the way that it should. I would like to show them the cover of the book. It's on my Kindle, so sorry. This is a Kindle Fire, so there might be a little glare on the screen. Sorry about that. And the PSYCH-K is a fascinating process that allows us to reset limiting beliefs in our subconscious mind. And I know you have a lot of questions lined up for me, Greg, so I'm gonna
I do, and I'm sorry for a moment. I just kind of I was posting to Facebook and Twitter to let people know, come on, get in here so that you can see what's going on. So I do. I have a list, and I'll tell you what. I've been reading the book, and I have put together a whole list of questions, and we could be here for a long time. So really want to get right to it. Teresa, I want to ask you about this thing about PSYCH-K. All right, so it's been said that it maybe talk therapy is a little less effective at eradicating limiting belief systems. And as a therapist, I have actually found that to be very true. You beat around a lot of different angles, trying to help people to change their lives and find peace. And at a certain point, I have found talk therapy to be very limited. So I wanted to ask you if you could just talk a little bit about, the difference between the conscious mind, where most of psychotherapy is happening, and the subconscious mind, and what is the difference between them, and why is the subconscious mind so much more powerful?
Okay, that's a great place to start. First of all, the originator of PSYCH-K, Rob Williams, was also a therapist, and he felt the same way that you felt, that the talk therapy was not as effective as he had hoped. And when you read the book, you will learn that this is a process that was actually downloaded to Rob. And there's even, I'm sorry, I have so much information in my head. I'm trying to sort it out and give it to you in a logical fashion. Last time we chatted, last Monday night, I had recommended a book by Dr. Bruce Lipton, The Biology of Belief. And so what I have learned from Rob Williams and from Bruce Lipton is that the subconscious mind is really driving the train. So that the subconscious mind operates at 40 million bits per second. So right now, it's keeping my heart beating. It's making sure that I breathe so that I don't suffocate. It's running internal systems, and so it's allowing my muscles to flex. So it's really driving the train. The subconscious mind operates at 40 million bits per second, and the conscious mind only operates at 40 bits per second.
What's a bit?
Well, a bit is a computer term. It's a measurement. It's a computer term. So a bit is like the smallest increment when you measure in computer terms. Like when you talk about memory, you have bits and bytes. And yeah.
How do they measure that?
In the brain?
Yeah.
I don't know, because I'm not a biologist. You know, I'm not a neuroscientist or a biologist. I would imagine they have instruments that they use where they can measure that activity.
So there is another statistic. I used to throw it out a lot because I like it, but I don't actually know where it comes from or how it was measured. But when I say it, I sound really smart, and a lot of times people are like, "Wow."
Let's hear it.
That the mind or the brain is processing something like 60,000 thoughts per hour.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that what I've always told people, and again, I'm mimicking something I heard because I like it, and I have no idea. Don't tell anybody. I have no idea what I'm talking about. But I like to tell people that it's too many thoughts, and that we are basically just selecting the ones that conform to our already agreed upon understanding of reality. All right, too many thoughts going on, and most of, also something like 80% of those 60,000 thoughts are redundant. That's another thing that I've heard that makes me sound smart. You know anything about that?
Well, you said something key there. Our already agreed upon concept of reality, right?
That's
So
right.
that's what the subconscious mind is doing, and our subconscious mind starts to get programmed the minute we're born. And so it's, as a therapist, it's mostly what happens to us between the age of 0 and 7 that programs. Is that right? 0 and 7.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
0 and 4 is where when we're talking about pre-verbal, it's the deepest. All right.
Right.
So it's organically the first year of life before you can, first 2 years of life before you have the verbal skills to articulate what's going on experientially. The experience becomes deeply embedded in the system, in the body as well as in the psyche. And then as one ages, maybe, the first 4 or 5 years, you have, the capacity to articulate, but you're still being sort of programmed like that, but you can at least question things.
Right.
So you're right. The first few years, absolutely.
And guess what? Guess what else we know? It actually starts before you're born. There's a great YouTube video that our listeners can do a search for. It's called Nurture versus Nature. And it
Nurture versus nature.
YouTube? Yeah.
It's on YouTube?
It's on YouTube.
No, but where is it?
It's on YouTube.
I'm going to find it while you're talking.
Okay. Nurture versus Nature. And it shows an ultrasound of a fetus reacting while the mother and the father are having an argument. So we know that even before we're born, that we react to things that are happening in the outside world.
There's a bunch of them that are all about the same thing, and I don't know which one you're referring to, so I'm not going to post it. I'm not going to.
Okay.
But I'll just put this down here. Yeah. Okay. But okay, so but the pretext for this conversation is the way the subconscious mind gets programmed. So the subconscious mind might be best described as the underpinning belief systems that we inherit. Maybe we inherit them, in utero. Maybe we even inherit them in the DNA. There's some discussion about that's going on right now. We definitely we inherit that from our immediate surroundings and our family. And then there's the conscious mind, which is more of a surface process for communicating our understandings of all of those things. Would you agree that that's a good way to describe that?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So
Can you tilt your camera or sit up a little bit? It's almost like you fell into a little bit of a hole there. There we go.
we could talk about that.
You were getting shorter and shorter.
No, we could talk about that, but why don't we do that in a private session afterwards? Okay. All right. We've just been joined by Suzanne Canley. Hi, Suzanne. Welcome. Welcome to the Blab.
And Suzanne, are you also in California? Someone lit up in California. Looks like San Francisco area, and then somebody's in the Midwest, and somebody's up by the Great Lakes. Very cool. I love that map. I love that map up in the corner.
I do too, but it's a little misleading it because the two green items there should be you and I, and it's got me over there in Los Angeles, and I'm not.
No, I see you in Texas.
You do?
Yep.
On mine, it's not showing up that way. But anyway, so here's what it is, folks. We're going to continue this interview, but if you have a question for Teresa, that's true. It doesn't show Barbara in Florida. Never mind. We know you're there, though, Barbara. There is no map that can accurately depict your brilliance. So what I'm going to ask you is, if you have a question for Teresa, to post it in the comment box, and we will use that as our prompt to open up a seat and you come in and ask the question personally. And also, so that you know, we are going to continue doing these for a while because there is, as Teresa has pointed out, there's so much information to uncover here, and we want to give you an opportunity to experience it. So, all right, here's something from the book that we're talking about. According to Emmanuel Dunchin, director of the Laboratory for Cognitive Psychophysiology at the University of Illinois, as much as 99% of cognitive activity may be non-conscious or subconscious. That's incredible, 99%. All right, and what the author states is that the language of the subconscious is actually different than the language of the conscious. So actually, accessing the subconscious requires a different language. Can you talk a little bit about that and explain what the difference is in the language? And we're going to get to something what Suzanne just talked about, affirmations. And thank you for posting that, Suzanne. We're going to get to that.
Yeah. So what I'd like to do, I'd like to cheat just a little bit here and read from a sheet out of my PSYCH-K workbook about actually there are 3 minds, and we probably won't get into the super conscious mind tonight. But the conscious and the subconscious mind, the conscious mind, and that's the one I'm using now to talk to you, is very volatile. It sets goals, it judges results, and it thinks abstractly. Okay, it is time bound, and it's limited in its processing capacity. So it's responsible for our short-term memory, which lasts about 20 seconds.
Really?
Some of us know that because we say, I have no short-term memory.
Sorry, what did you just say?
It can only process 1 to 3 events at a time. So we all multitask, but you will probably find that you're limited to no more than 3 tasks at a time. And as I mentioned before, it averages 40 bits of information per second. The subconscious mind is habitual. And as I mentioned before, it monitors the operation of the body, motor functions, heart rate, digestion, and it thinks literally. And that's really important. We'll talk about that a little bit more. The subconscious mind is timeless, and it has an expanded processing capacity. That's where your long-term memories are stored, your past experiences, your attitudes, your values, and your beliefs. It can process thousands of events at a time, and it averages 40 million bits of information per second. So that's the difference between our conscious mind and our subconscious mind. So therefore, we have to have a different way to communicate with our subconscious mind, and that's where PSYCH-K comes in.
So what is the difference? What's the most effective way for communicating with the subconscious mind, and how is it different than communicating with the conscious mind?
Well, the most effective ways of communicating with the subconscious mind, according to Dr. Bruce Lipton, is hypnosis. And I don't know that I would categorize PSYCH-K as a form of hypnosis. And I am a student of PSYCH-K, so I don't want to state anything here that might be incorrect. But Bruce Lipton also says that PSYCH-K is his favorite method for communicating with the subconscious mind.
Yeah. And Suzanne says meditation and hypnosis are similar. That's an excellent point.
Yes.
But one of the things that I saw that excited me in the book was that the conscious mind is very, as you say, it's very abstract in its thinking. So a lot of it is around language and ideas, but the subconscious mind is much more physical. It's much more sensation based. So that the language requires accessing your auditory, your tactile. In fact, he calls the big three, right? The big three is
the VAC. The VAC. It's I'm scratching. My lip is itching. I apologize. There are several PSYCH-K processes, and one of them is called the VAC process, VAK, and that stands for visual, audio, auditory, and kinesthetic.
Visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. All right, and why is that? And why is that? Why is that so important in accessing the subconscious mind?
The subconscious mind only understands what it has been programmed with. So think of your subconscious mind as a computer that has been programmed. For instance, if you say an affirmation, I want to be happy, I want to be happy, I want to be happy. The subconscious mind doesn't understand necessarily what happy means. So we can use visual, auditory, and kinesthetic language to communicate with the subconscious mind so that the subconscious mind can help us to actually produce happiness. So if you and I were working together, I would say to you, well, Greg, what would your life look like if you were happy? And what would you be hearing people say about you? And what would you be saying about yourself?
All right. So what if I wanted to use and I get this a lot from folks when I ask them, what's your goal? And they say, I want to be happy. And then I'll say, well, okay, but what does that look like? And I get another abstract response like, I just like, I'm at peace. Okay. What's the problem with that?
We still don't have a clear picture for the subconscious mind to be able to process.
So the subconscious mind then needs to have very concrete sensory-based instructions to cling to. Is that right?
Right.
So, all right. So Suzanne says in here that she's used affirmations quite a bit to her benefit, and there are some people that don't use affirmations well. What is it that makes affirmations ineffective, and how do you distinguish those from affirmations that are effective? What's the difference there?
Well, I think a lot of it depends on the person, and affirmations can be highly effective, and I highly recommend affirmations. But there are certain people who can say affirmations until the cows come home, and they still can't reach their goals. And that is because there's something stuck in the subconscious mind. There's a limiting belief sandwiched into the programming that is disallowing that goal to happen. So let's say, for example, you grew up in an abusive childhood, and one of your parents continually told you were stupid, and you couldn't, your report card was never good enough. You got programmed. You got programmed early on. So you may choose to go to the best schools. You may really be highly intelligent, and you may graduate at the top of your class. But when you try to go out into the work world and become a success, you're limited because you've got that belief in your subconscious mind that, you were told all those years, I'm stupid. So that's just one example.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I had another question in here for you. Oh, so all right. What are permission protocols?
So PSYCH-K is what is called a do with process. It's not something that I do to you. It's something we do together. And when we do a process in PSYCH-K, we use muscle testing, applied kinesiology, which we talked about a little bit last week, and we get permission from your subconscious mind before we actually do the processing. We make sure that it is okay.
So that's an interesting thing. All right. So the limiting beliefs are trapped up in the subconscious mind. That's where they're held, right? And taking off my shoes while we talk. Because I have a belief that I will feel more comfortable. Okay. All right. By the way, all right. Nice shoes, huh? Look at that. Huh?
No, put your shoes down.
You want to see my socks? I'm a sock man. Okay, I am.
No.
I am all about brown pants. All right. So, I just.
We got to give him some pros there for that, people.
Thank you. Let's face it. You're the brains, and I'm the beast that has good fashion. All right.
I like that.
I'm the entertainment. I gotta, we need some entertainment in here. All right. And by the way, thank you very much.
I'm the brain.
I appreciate the props, everybody. I was really developing a severe self-esteem problem. Okay. All of my early programming was.
So yeah.
All right.
Let's talk about your early programming. Okay.
Should we get back to the interview?
Yeah.
Okay. Back to the interview. All right. So this is important now, and I came to realize this was so important a few years ago, and yet it's still not fully catching on. Whenever I talk about this with people, they go, huh? They do double take and really have a hard time getting with this program. That in order to be able to work with limiting, undermining subconscious belief systems, we have to befriend them. And we have to recognize them as allies. All right.
Correct.
Now, I don't know. A lot of people are like, I don't get that. that part. What do you mean, allies? You know, it's wrecking my life. It's preventing, you know, people are like, I can't make the money that I want to make. I can't find the partner that I want to find. No, just hitting a wall over and over and over again, right? What do you mean make friends with that? What is that all about? I mean, how that sounds counterintuitive.
Okay, so what happens is while you're being programmed during those early years, and the programming really never stops. I mean, you could have a traumatic event in your 20s that actually lodges some limiting beliefs in your subconscious mind. Now your subconscious mind, its job is to keep you safe. So,
okay, so like, how does it keep you safe? What if my belief is that, let's say, I can't earn enough money to be able to cover all my expenses. I can't get above a certain income level. What if that's my belief, and then I have a history proving that that is true? How is that protecting me? What's that doing for me?
Well, that's a really hard example. Can I choose an easier example?
Sure.
Please.
Go ahead.
So let's say in high school, in junior high, you had to get up in front of the class and give a book report, and something embarrassing happened. You were made fun of, or maybe you expressed some gas in front of the classroom. Everybody laughed at you. You were completely humiliated, and now you've got a fear of public speaking. So the subconscious mind has implanted that fear, and now it's interfering with your career, because you could make a lot more money if you could get up on a stage and do some public speaking, or come on a blab like this and talk in front of people. So you've developed a limiting belief that is trying to keep you safe, because it doesn't want you to experience that humiliation again.
Gotcha.
Now, as far as your earning potential, if a person came to me with that issue, we'd have to do some probing and to find out what is the true limiting belief that is stopping you from earning all that you want to earn. So another example I can give you is, let's say I have a client who comes to me for weight loss, and all their life, all their adult life, they've tried to shed the 40, 50, 60 pounds, and no matter how hard they try, they just can't keep it off. Well, we'd have to do a little bit of probing and figure out why they're hanging on to that weight. And then once we discover the reason, we can process that. And if you recall, there was a great story in the book about a girl who was having epileptic seizures. You remember that story?
Yeah.
in the book?
Yeah.
Okay. And so this is why PSYCH-K is a permission-based process. To just assume that what she needed was to process her epileptic seizures would not have been safe. Do you remember why she was having the epileptic seizures?
No. And
okay, she was afraid to live on her own. She had a fear of living on her own and going away to college. And so by having these epileptic seizures, it was keeping her safe, because her mom or somebody always had to be around. And so that satisfied her need to stay safe. So it wasn't the processing of the epileptic seizures, it was the processing of the fear of being alone that cured the epileptic seizures.
So the idea here is that the subconscious beliefs, or the programming that happens at such a subconscious level so early in life, actually provides for a safety mechanism for people. And
exactly.
And even as it holds them back. And so when we move into adulthood, we find these things undermining us or limiting us in our capacity to really reach out for the life that we want to have, because we're trying to stay safe, right? And that's a fundamental need.
Exactly.
Right, to stay safe, right? So let's talk about
some.
Sorry?
To stay safe, to feel safe.
All of that lower chakra business going on.
Right.
You know, it's them darn lower chakras, man. All the trouble coming from the lower chakras. You know, why can't we just get rid of the lower chakras and we wouldn't have to have all of this business? All right, let's talk about some of the myths about change. All right, some really interesting ones, and actually the first one illuminated a debate that I was having with my coach about this, where he's like, "Oh yeah, you know, change. Changes take 2 seconds. If you really want to make it change a belief system, it doesn't take a long time. The myth here is if you've had a negative belief for a long time, it will take a long time to change it." And I've actually always said that, like, actually, belief systems are very complex, and alchemy is a process. It's an organic process. It doesn't happen overnight. So, can you address that? How is that a myth?
With PSYCH-K, we can eliminate limiting beliefs that are lodged in the subconscious mind fairly quickly. Some beliefs can be eliminated with one process in about 20 minutes. It depends on the belief. It depends on how complex it is. And it also depends on what process the subconscious mind wants wants us to use in order to eradicate that limiting belief. So this process is just mind-blowing.
Well, I heard a buddy of mine talking about something like this about 15 years ago, and I said, you know what? If it's that easy, and if it can be done that quickly, there must be something about it that's a hoax, because that kind of rhetoric oftentimes smacks of some superficial appeal to, the quick fix that is such a big thing in our society. Wouldn't you agree?
I'm sorry. I just was noticing my friend from New Jersey, Lori. Hi, howdy. She said howdy. Where'd that come from? I'm sorry, Greg. Could you please repeat the question?
Nobody listens to me. Is this supposed to be like a corrective experience? Like I'm
actually testing your short-term memory.
Yeah, no. Are you testing my short-term memory, or you're giving me the post-traumatic stress reaction here in public?
No, actually, I forgot the question. Sorry.
Okay, what I was talking about was how when I hear somebody talking about something like this, I tend to devalue it, because it sounds like it is a rhetorical appeal to the quick fix mentality, when my belief system about life is that it's a process, it's an alchemical process, and that these things do take time. They don't take 20 minutes, especially if they've been lodged in the system for 25 or 30 or 40 years. And by the way, I just want to let everybody know, while you're mulling the complexity of my question, if you have a question for Teresa, please post it in the dialogue box on the left, and we'll open up a seat for you that way. Okay, folks? Thank you. All right. So, Teresa?
Well, that's what we're all taught, Greg. We're all taught that change does not happen overnight. How many times have you heard that? How many times have you heard You got to work hard. You know, you got to keep
Yeah, of
at it.
course.
You know, I got to have faith. But
Ooh.
PSYCH-K has proven that that is
Ooh.
not true.
Okay. Listen to this. Excellent question. Suzanne, would you like to take a seat and ask that question to Teresa? That's a good question. Wow. I hope you're sharp, girl. I hope you're on your toes, okay? Oh, she's at work in the crowd. All right, so the question is, can the subconscious hold two contradictory beliefs at the same time?
I believe that it can.
Can you?
I believe that it can. Now, I'm not the expert here, but I believe that it can. I think that I wouldn't necessarily call them contrary, but or contradictory, but I would, one is blocking the other. So, so again, I'm going to use my example of the person who wants to shed the weight, right? So, the system may approve a process for, I am healthy and strong. And so we might process that. And then the system may approve, I only put healthy things into my body, and we may process that. But then we might discover that that doesn't solve the problem. So there can be an underlying, I'm going to call them sabotaging beliefs, Suzanne, if that makes sense. And I'm getting some thumbs ups there. So I think that makes sense. So really, I mean, that's where the coaching part comes in for me, because I'm a certified life coach. You're a therapist. That's where the probing comes in. Because we really need to get down to the underlying issue before we can process it effectively.
So does a person have to, do they have to like have insight and understand what caused the problem in order to change it? Or is it necessary to have insight into the root of the problem?
Not necessarily. You know, let's take the example in the book of the girl with the epileptic seizures and the need to feel safe. Do we have to hypnotize her and find out what the traumatic event was that caused that? Not necessarily. What we know is the limiting belief is she has this need to feel safe, and you know, this underlying fear of being alone, and we can process that. We don't need to dig, dig up graves, so to speak.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Okay. All right. So let's see, what else do we have over here? That is that's a big one, in counseling and psychotherapy, is oftentimes it's just going towards gaining insight. That was something that that Freud brought to the field, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we need to recreate the scene of the accident, right? So to speak. Yeah. No, we don't need to do that necessarily in PSYCH-K.
Okay. Does anybody, so I'm just putting the question, we have a few people in the room. Does anybody have a question that they want to pose, or an example in your life that you would like to present to Teresa? If so, please just make a mention in the dialogue box and we will open up a seat for you there. Okay. I think saw Lori trying to get in a seat a couple of times. So please go ahead and punch that in. All right.
So another really fascinating fact about PSYCH-K, we can use surrogates. So it's really
what do you
cool.
mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean surrogates?
Well, let's say you wanted me to do a process on you, but you're not here. So I can call a friend of mine and ask if they would be willing to be a surrogate. And what we do, let's say, for example, you're in a coma. Okay, that's even a better example. So there's no way I could do a PSYCH-K process on you because I can't communicate with you. I can use a surrogate and I can do the processing. And then at that point, what happens is we get the permission from your superconscious mind. Because remember what I said, PSYCH-K is a do-with process. It's not I do it to you. It's a do-with process. And it's always, always permission-based. And so with surrogation, we actually communicate with your superconscious mind and we get permission from your superconscious mind, number one, to allow that surrogate to work on your behalf. And then number two, we check whether it's okay to do the process just like I would if you were with me.
So can you sort of describe how that works again? I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around that.
Yeah, so I have a client in Seattle, and I asked him if he would like a PSYCH-K session via a surrogate. And so I did exactly that. I asked a friend of mine if she would come over and function as his surrogate, and she said she would. And so when we started the process, I did the muscle testing, the applied kinesiology, and I checked to make sure that it was appropriate for her to act as the surrogate. And then I checked with my client's subconscious to make sure that, or hit superconscious, to make sure that she was the appropriate surrogate for the work. And then we proceeded with the process as if she was him.
So he didn't do any work?
No, he didn't do anything. I gave him a report afterwards. I told him, what we discovered. Sometimes you can also do relationship work with a surrogate. So if, let's say, I have a couple and there are some issues, I can bring in a surrogate. Let's say I have the husband, I can bring in a surrogate to take the place of the wife and do the processing. And we did a lot of this work in our advanced class. And afterwards, reports did come back that the people who were being worked on via surrogate actually did feel something happening at the time. They felt a sense of relief. They felt a sense of overwhelm, release of sadness, different things. I've blown your mind, haven't I?
Yeah, and I'm going to admit I'm having some trouble with it. I don't
Okay.
get it. How does that?
Okay.
How does that work? What is the mechanism for transformation when the individual is not even participating?
We are tapped into the super conscious mind. Now, I know you are a very spiritual being, and so you recognize that we are all connected, and we are connected through the super conscious mind. So that's how the process works. I'm operating like, let's take my client on the West Coast, for example. I did not have to ask that person's permission verbally. I could have simply asked permission through the surrogate. the relationship work that we did was fascinating, and I've even been a surrogate for a horse.
What kind of problem was the horse having?
Well, let me just say first, you can do surrogation for any, you could do it for a baby, an animal, any living creature. Um, the horse was sick.
Huh.
Yeah.
So how did it go?
Yeah.
Did the horse demonstrate a change after the process?
No,
No.
no, no.
The
Unfortunately, no.
horse is resistant.
No, the horse is actually on the other
Oh.
side now.
Oh, the work you were doing was before the horse transitioned over? Okay.
Correct.
All right.
Correct.
So basically, the horse was not receptive to the thing. You know, we call horses
No,
like that help rejecting complainers. You know, they come out of the barn and they act like they have a problem and they want help, but some horses just they're not cut out for it.
yeah. Well, no. The question that the owner wanted the answer to was, was the horse ready to be put down?
Oh, that's very interesting. Yeah. That's very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, we're about at the end of this interview, and if anybody has any final questions, this would be the time to ask right now while we're getting ready to wrap up. But I really want to thank you again, Lisa. Oh, here's an interesting question. You want to take that?
What about hypnosis to get to the root of this?
Robin, do you want to take a seat?
I mean, hypnosis is, according to Bruce Lipton, hypnosis is the #1 way to communicate with the subconscious mind. Now, I'm not saying that PSYCH-K is the best and the only. I personally love it. I think it works. I think it works great. It works well for my clients. But we all know there are so many different methods out there, and there's even more to be discovered. The more I learn, the more I wonder, what else is out there that we can use as tools to help our clients. So yeah, what about hypnosis? Absolutely. Hypnosis, definitely. I mean, I know a hypnotherapist here who is very successful at helping people lose weight and quit smoking and do all those things that they've been battling for years. So yeah, hypnosis does work. The PSYCH-K website is PSYCH-K.com. There is, look at all those thumbs up I'm getting. There's tons of information on YouTube, and there are even some videos on YouTube where you can see someone being put through a PSYCH-K process. I'm also sponsoring a basic class here in Central North Carolina, the beginning of March. Let me get you those dates. Let me get your
website again, Teresa. It's teresabruni.com, right?
It's my name, teresabruni.com. No H in the Teresa. Just TERESA, B as in boy, RUNI.com. And if anyone is interested in speaking with me about PSYCH-K, just go to the contact link on my website and shoot me an email. Make sure you include your email address, and if you're interested in a session, I can do sessions by Skype. And also the workshop. Anyone who's interested in the workshop is really designed for two types of people. Those who have limiting beliefs that they've just had enough and they want them gone. It's 3 days. It's March 4th, 5th, and 6th. That's a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And the other person would be for people, you know, coaches and therapists, and anybody who wants to get this new tool in their bag of tools. Once you take the basic class, you are allowed to start practicing on people. So you can take the skills that you learn and put them to use right away. And then you're going to want more. I mean, I thought the basic class was good, and then the advanced class just blew me away, because that's where we learned to do the surrogation, and we did whole body balances. Now, you were talking before about the root chakras. So, and I didn't want to get into it because it's complicated, but we have a core belief balance, and where you're on a massage table. And that one takes about an hour. And of course, I can even do that with a surrogate, but you know, it's probably better if I can have you in person. But I can do it with a surrogate.
Awesome. It's fascinating. It's fascinating stuff. We want to come back. We want to do this some more. So next week we'll have a different healer on here. I think Bessie Eckert is scheduled for next week, although I need to confirm that with her. But we will definitely be back here again next week, and we'll have Teresa back to talk about this some more. I think that we're going to be doing a few more with this. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Teresa, for sharing your expertise and your kindness. Thank you to everybody for your participation here tonight, and tune in and spread the word. We're doing this. We're having these interviews with the healers. It's fascinating people coming and talking about the amazing work that they're doing all around the world. All right, every night, Monday night at 7 o'clock Eastern time. Yeah.
Greg, I was so flattered when you called me. Folks, just so you know, this was last minute. Greg actually called me yesterday and asked me if I would come back on tonight. And I was so flattered. So thank you for this opportunity. You know, I just want to help the world get healed, and that's what PSYCH-K is all about.
Amen. So, amen to that. Amen to that. All right, folks. Thank you. Thank you, Teresa, and we'll see you all again real soon. All right. Good night.
Okay. Good night.